kind of a one last look. I'm gonna sit down up here. Oh. Shade feels good today. Nice breeze blowing. Packing up, getting ready. Time to go back to Wyoming. Probably be leaving tomorrow or very early the next day. Gonna tow the car behind the truck. It'll be an adventure. I want to let you know, first of all, happy Father's Day. I didn't want you to think that with all this stuff I got to get done today that I would forget you. I surely did not. Whether you're a father, stepfather, the man who mentors someone's children, treats them like their own. You might be a mom who has no dad in your family, and so you're the dad. I did that for a number of years. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because to be a true father is an act of dedication and love that requires you to sometimes sacrifice your dreams so that you can take care of your family. I sure understand that. I'm going back to Wyoming, and I'm selling my ranch. I want to start a new chapter of my life. If it's true, which it seems to be, that working harder brings on the CTE faster, I'd kind of like to slow that down a bit. So to me, immersion in a new adventure will keep the brain busy. My theory is if we have 40% of our brain we don't use, maybe it's time to light it up, you know? set that brain on fire. So to me, challenge is the best way to do anything. And so I'm going to challenge myself and probably try something I've never done before. I'll let you know. Anyway, happy Father's Day to all of you. For your fathers, their fathers, all those who were a certain way so that we could become what we are. I know sometimes that wasn't agreeable. I know sometimes I had some hard places too. But when I look back and I see who I am today, I realize that we teach whether we want to or not. Sometimes we teach a good way to be. Sometimes we teach how not to be. It's okay. I know some of you had some hard fathers. I do know that. If you came through and have a loving heart and you're good to those who are now in your charge, thank you so much. It means everything to me that a person can come through very difficult times and still shine like a star. To show a leadership by how you are, you know. We teach whether we want to or not. And folks are watching us when we don't even think they are. Now, I'm not trying to get on a big, be very afraid of what you don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying little kids in the store, watch how you are. And then they learn something from you by what you did or didn't do. I know I learn a lot from other people just because I watch them. As an autistic person, this was how I figured it out. I started watching others. So, let me turn this way, it's prettier. Okay, so the throat thing. There was nothing growing or, creating a sore or anything like that in my throat. When they scoped my throat, they said, actually, it's perfect. But what did happen was my esophagus had shrunk down. And it had shrunk down to a point where I was starting to feel, that. And so while they were there, And this whole thing took like, I don't know, 12 minutes with me having a nice nap for about 45. They put a balloon down there and they stretched it out. Now, there was no pain. When I woke up, there was no pain. There was no difficulty. I have noticed that somehow my vocal cords have been bumped a little bit. And so there's kind of a soreness or a scratchiness there. That's been going on for a week or so. But I'm also starting to breathe the smoky air as it comes in. And that's going to be a pretty big deal this year. But I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to try a water cooling system that will filter the air through water and run that inside the cabin. Hopefully I will be in the cabin very soon because I have a lot to do to make it right again. And I'm not looking forward to a ton of work, especially when it's hot. And I know you all worry about me in that. I will do the very best I can. The theory so far is, to work early in the morning, work more in the evening outside. And when it's the heat of the day, come in. Hopefully to the cabin and the little air conditioner and maybe some water purification. I have a couple of little devices that help with that. Clean the air. Very important, especially in the smoke. Not particularly expensive. In fact, one of them I got at the thrift store. If you know what you're looking for, you can get some pretty cool things there. Watch out for your neighbors. Watch out for those who are elderly. The heat's going to play a big deal for them. And for those of you like me who love to be in the sun, got to be more careful now. Please, please be more careful now. Because my whole body is healing, I'm, using things to treat the scars that have been left by the sun on my face. And look, it's working. That'll be nice. Won't give me a facelift, but that's okay. That's all right. There's some quirkiness still in this old face. It's good for expression. Like that. Anyway, it's a short video. I don't have a lot to say except that I love you very much and I got a lot to do. But I didn't want you to think I hadn't thought about you today. I have. I think about you guys all the time. And what I'm going to do when I get back to Wyoming while I'm putting the place up for sale and working all that out. For anybody who's interested nearby, place is $150,000. It's 2 acres. Cabin is 864 square feet, I think. It's habitable. I've been living there. There's a lot of potential on the property. There's 3 wells, unheard of. One is 800 feet, one is 200 feet. One is, I think, 86 feet. 2 of them have not been tested. One's being used in the house. The water is drinkable if you have no problems with calcium. But otherwise, I would highly suggest a good filtration system, which I'm going to put in something kind of similar to that, but I generally don't drink that water. But I do shower in it and wash and all that kind of thing. What else should I tell you about this place? Most of it's fenced. You can keep horses there. There's probably 1 3/4 acres or more just devoted to the pasture and the horses. Hopefully this year, with the fence that I put across, halfway there will actually be some pasture on the other side. Boy, I would love that. Oh yeah, you have half mineral rights. That's unheard of. You have half mineral rights. Don't know what's under the dirt. Don't know. And you have a lot of wide open space around you. BLM across the road. Alfalfa field, hay field on the back side. And then just a little bit of land all the way to the road. The soil has never been truly disturbed, except in perhaps the 80s when they built this building. But there's no chemicals down in it or anything, so gardening is still pretty pure, and I'm tickled about that. We'll see how far I get on the garden this year. There's just so much to do. But anyway, if you want to find out about it, um, of course you can leave something in the comments here, but I'll only get to see an answer one time. Um, going back to my old P.O. box, you can write me. Now I'm just going to tell you what it is. P.O. Box 322, Thermopolis, Wyoming, 82443. Now, if you're a prepper, this place is pretty cool for that. If you're not a prepper and you just love the outside, it's got a lot of that too. We have antelope, we have a lake about 30 miles away that's still fairly, still fairly pristine, I guess is the best word. It's held by a dam that doesn't work all the time. Anyway, you'll see. You'll see. And there's mountains. Yeah, there's mountains. Deer. There's also fox. There's also coyote. There's also badger. Occasionally there's a mountain lion. Sometimes there's a bear. You must understand this if you're going to live in this kind of world. The worst case scenario temperatures at minus 35 I've seen and lived through. Winds sometimes gust 65 miles an hour, so there's dust and all that kind of thing. You have to kind of prepare for a life that's a little bit more, more primitive than a lot of city folk are used to. And there's snow. Sometimes we can get 4-foot drifts across the driveway, things like that. But I took this place on in my 60s, and I did fine till I got sick. Now I'm not sick, but I still have the CTE. That hasn't magically gone away. So the last chapter of my life is going to be devoted to how well I can live, and that's why I have to sell the place. If you want the horse and mule, they can come with it. It's possible the truck can come with it. There's a lot of smaller equipment, log splitter, tools. There's a shop inside the cabin, a wood stove, log splitter, a semi-large camper that is stationary. I'm going to turn the front of that into a studio. The studio is available. I'm not going to carry much with me when I go. Smaller camper, that's my writing studio, and it also goes with it. And anything else. There's building materials and all kinds of stuff. Probably pretty much everything you need to get yourself so busy you can't stand it. Anyway, let me know if you're interested. I have loved living there. For as much as I could, I have loved it. And maybe you're that adventuresome too. I kind of picture a couple, fairly young, willing to prepare for maybe something unusual coming our way. Also willing to put up with the natural world around them. It's kind of like that. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta get this packing done. Although the biggest part of it is done. And I will let you know when I get back to Wyoming. And hopefully my throat will clear up a little better. And the smoke won't be too bad this year from the fires around us. And I'll bring you some music. I've been practicing. I'm up to doing about 3 songs now without too much pain in my hands. That's good. That's really good. Anyway, 5 minutes of joy. For me, it's been to come to you today. If I can do this right, little hearts. Because I love you so very much. And I will talk to you again real soon.